felt like the split sessions were really good. It's something that we have not been involved with before, and what it did, it gave so many more reps and so much more attention to especially the new guys and the younger guys, and it kept our guys out in this heat only about an hour and 15 minutes instead of standing out there for 2.5 hours and getting less work. So they worked harder, they got more reps, and we're out in the heat less amount of time. So we felt like that's something that we would definitely do again next year. Kicking game, you'd have to figure out what to do with it because it suffers for 2 days. And you'd probably have the sessions closer together and put the kicking game in between the two so the older guys could come back out for the latter part of practice. But that's something we thought that was really good. Secondly, today really starts the evaluation process. You can't tell anything about football without pads. So this will be a great film for us. We had a long practice, we had a tough practice. At the end we scrimmaged the young ones probably 15 plays live, all out, and it was really, really good because you need to figure out which of the young ones are more ready to play. They're ready to be coached, but they don't know what to do yet. So you put them out there and see who can run and hit and make plays, who's mature enough to do that right now, and then you can go back and try to continue to coach them. But one of the things we in college football a lot make a mistake, I think, by giving up on them because they're not ready early because they don't know what to do. And so we're going to try to do a better job of bringing those guys along. Other than that, practice has been good. We've got a lot of work to do, and we'll start our two-a-days tomorrow morning early. Questions?
Matt, can you talk a little bit about Earl Thomas? He seemed to be standing out, a little bit coming out of the spring, and what do you like about him? Well,
we're really inexperienced with our safeties, and we've got to find somebody fast. And Earl is a guy who likes to play. He's very passionate, and he'll hit you. We've just got to make sure that those guys, we give them enough to be competitive with the other teams and give us a chance to win, and not too much to overload young safeties. So really Ishii hadn't played very much because he's been hurt, so nobody in that group's played. So we're impressed with his attitude and his passion, and we've just got to make sure the learning curve fits.
Sergio, he was talking last night. He's eager for the old Sergio to come back. Can you talk about him? I mean, he's been injured, he was suspended, he's been injured. Here he is, is this his time?
Well, we're hoping it is. He's in great shape. He's done everything right. He's worked really, really hard, and again, we're starting pads today, and he's missed a lot. He got hurt early in the bowl game and missed all of spring practice, so he hadn't hit anybody in a long time. So it'll be interesting to see if he continues to grow on the practice field like he looked in shorts.
Do you think y'all's base is going to have to be a nickel given the offenses you're playing?
It depends on the offense completely. One of the things that our defensive staff's been talking about that is unique is they will play 4 or 5 different types of offenses, but the base offense we'll see now spread. You've still got West Coast with pro-style stuff. You've still got some guys that line up and try to hammer you. But by and large, you're going to have to stop the spread and then work back from there.
Just talk about your evaluation process, because I'm just curious, like when you're out there on the field, is there times when maybe you think you see something, or you think you don't see something, then you see it on tape and it kind of just reinforces a reality?
Yes, when we what I feel like my job on the field is to make sure that our coaches are organized, they're doing what we plan to do, make sure they're safe, but they're getting after the kids and making them be competitive. They're coaching if somebody's not doing their job, and then at the same time, if I step in, I feel like it's time for me to say something, I need to say it, I will. But then I go back and reinforce all that on film at night. So I'll go watch the film right now, I'll take it home with me, probably watch it again, and then try to watch it again before the morning, because it is so hard to see, even running through the film, and especially if you've had a long day and you're a little bit tired, it's so hard to see every step by every kid and be fair to them. We've even seen it sometimes at the end of a practice film, you grade kids harder than at the beginning because you're worn out. And that's why you have to go back and do it again and make sure you may even be mad at one kid and grade another one down and have to go back and start over. So we feel like that we need to watch the film a minimum of 3 times to really have a good feel of what happened during practice with everybody.
How much film do you have to watch? Because you have all these separate drills for...
We video every drill. So we go back and I might not watch the individual drills, but I'll go back and watch every competitive drill because that's what matters to me. And we've told them, if you're in a one-on-one pass rush pass protection drill and you can't get to the passer or you can't stop a guy, then we can't use you. Because that's what you do. You got to win that drill to be able to play. Same thing one-on-one in the passing game. If a wide receiver can't get off bump, he can't play because he's going to get bumped at some point during the season. And if a guy can't cover a guy man-on-man, we can't use him. So that's their evaluation. And they understand. We grade every film, every drill, and we show the kids the drill. And we show them who won the drill and why. And we tell them that you got to get better in that area or you're not going to play.
Given that this was the first day, you know, where you're hitting, did your analysis, or how does it change given what the first 4 days versus now?
Well,
How do you do it differently?
the thing you see is there's a different intensity in pads because you will have more people on the ground. In shorts, you don't want them on the ground. They get on the ground some. But today, you can see a guy turning it loose and knocking a guy down. And we had the 15 plays of scrimmage at the end, which we haven't done that this early in the fall, but we're just trying to evaluate the young ones better and quicker and not let the fact that they might be brain locked by new offense, new defense, new schemes, and not as aggressive right now, not try to be really simple in that scrimmage and allow them to make some plays and get our attention.
On Roy Miller, he was telling me last Sunday he had bad shoulder, coming off shoulder surgery this time last year, and he had a high ankle sprain. Now he's healthy for the first time since maybe his freshman year, totally healthy. Can you see it and talk about his play the last 5 days?
Yes, Roy looks like a dominating player right now, and we need that inside. All the guys are getting better, but Roy has just been a difference maker, and you can't block him. And even today in the pass rush drill, they were running schemes and games with 2 guys and 3 guys trying to block them. All 3 ended up trying to block Roy, and they did, and it freed Lamar Houston to make the sack. So that's what's happened here in some cases. Great seniors get double teamed or triple teamed, and a younger guy gets to make more plays and be free. But we think Roy can handle whatever they send at him, and we think he's in the line of the great ones we've had here.
So
Mack,
you think he could be like an All-American with a great line?
I do. I think he's really good.
With
You go back to the bowl game 2 years ago where he had 12 tackles, I think, against Iowa, and last year he played really well in the bowl game, and he's a great leader for us and a guy that just plays so hard that's he plays the same every day in practice and the same every game. He and Brian Arakpo do the same thing. They're both great leaders and tough guys, and they're difference makers for us. And we do feel like that those 2, along with some others that need to come, give us a better chance to have a 4-man rush and get to the quarterback better than we have.
Mack, have you seen Sergio get frustrated because he hasn't been able to flash? I mean, he was the top defensive player, coming out of high school, whatever. Has there been any frustration that he hasn't been able to show it yet?
Sergio's been really mature through the whole thing. When he had his incident last summer, he was honest with me. He told me exactly what happened. He said he was really sorry, and he took care of it and handled it. And on the practice field, he works really hard. And the only thing, he'll get mad at himself if he doesn't do well, but he really hasn't been frustrated beyond what any of us would if things aren't going like you'd want them to. And you know, we need him. We need him to play good. We need him to be on the field. He's got great ability, and he's trying really hard, and he's passionate. We're hoping that he has a chance to continue to play and stay healthy. It's a hard game to play. You got to be really good, and you got to be lucky, and you got to be in great shape. And the guys that get hurt, it's just very unfortunate that it happens. And the year we won the national championship, I think we had 1 kid miss a game. The last 2 years, we've had like 16 to 20 something miss games both years, and that's just need to be lucky.
Speaking of that, given that Antoine had the surgery, has it been a little more difficult to evaluate the fullback situation, or have you seen some stuff you like so far from the others?
Well, Luke Tieman's been around and is very physical, and Cody Johnson's in better shape than we've seen him since he's been here, and he's really competing. So those 2 are doing some good things at the fullback spot. Antoine was doing more until today. He's limited with the pads, so he'll get more on the shorts and shoulder pads days right now than he will in the full gear. Well, I called plays as an assistant and called them as a head coach for a long time, maybe 6, 8 years at North Carolina, and then felt like that I needed to be on the defensive end more. In the last 2 years at North Carolina, I felt like that the job was getting so big that I wasn't studying film as much because I was doing some other things that needed to be done. When we got here, Greg had the 2 years at North Carolina, and Greg and I discuss every game plan, and we look at every play, and I hear every play. And one of the things that I can do, because he's tough and not sensitive at all, is I've been around him long enough. If I don't like something he's doing, I can tell him, and he will listen, and he's got an opinion about it. If he doesn't like it, he'll tell me, but if I feel like it needs to be changed, I'll tell him to change it, and he will do that and work for it.
Because you guys have had the luxury, I don't know, I mean, you're Texas, you got great talent, you haven't had to trick it up or whatever. Why do you think this year?
Well, number one, there's more people with great talent around. Number two, we do not think you're going to win with a bunch of trick plays, because if you're not playing well, the trick plays don't work. On the days you're playing well and everybody's happy anyway, and you probably would have won the game, the trick plays work. On the day you stink, we call 4 of them, we never get to the line of scrimmage, and you all say we didn't call any. So I said, well, we called them, they just stunk, and that like everything else we did today. But we do feel like it's fun for the kids. Everybody else is using them so much. We felt like the other day or a couple of years ago, it really hurt us on defense. And my job is to make sure that the offense is doing enough, having enough diversity that we will play against, like keeping an option in the offense, running some power, running trick plays, so our defense can work against things that they're going to see in the games every day on a practice field. And the same thing defensively, our defense needs to stay multiple enough that our offense gets to see all the things that they can see down the road without having to do it with a scout team. Scout teams are really hard now. You're thinner. It's hard to teach them. The reaction time's not as good, so you need to do a lot more in our estimation, 1s against 2s and 2s against 1s, and try to get the picture of the other team, at least with your second team.
Last question on that subject. Can you talk about Greg's imagination? Because, you know him as well as anyone. Offensively, at Georgia, the moving Hines to the quarterback situation, all that. You just talk about his imagination.
Yeah, the hardest job in college football to me, or pro football, is the guy who calls the plays, because everybody in the country calls plays. I mean, every fan's got an opinion, and most of those opinions are after the play's over, and I wouldn't have done that. Well, no, me neither. I wouldn't have done it again either. It's just, but that's what you got. We study everybody's offense throughout the country. We look at all the film and all the stats and get them in and try to see who's moving the ball and who's doing well, and stay ahead of the curve. But still, you'd like to have a multiple enough offense that you feature different people each year, because you're going to have some leave, you're going to have some get hurt, just like Limas last year. It happened. We're not going to sit around and talk about why we're sorry and we're going to lose that Limas is gone. We got to fix it and move forward. And Greg is a fixer, and he's got great imagination. The play caller also gets no credit when you win the game, because the kids played well. When you lose the game, he gets all the credit. He had 4 other coaches sitting in there and me around too, so a lot of people involved with that game plan. And in some cases, Greg's such a team guy, we've tried to set up offensive game plans to help a defense on a day we thought our defense would be in trouble, and it made the offense look bad because the defense still stunk and the offense didn't score as much. But I do think that he's a very faithful man. He's a great family man, and the only other thing he cares at all about is football at the University of Texas.
Who have y'all looked at as far as trying to, if you